people keep their same personality and energy on the other side?
People do keep their personalities. And what's interesting is I was part of a university. The University of Arizona has an ongoing program where they're studying mediumship. And I, in the early days, participated in that. And one of the things that mediums scored high on was the personalities of the people that were coming through. And the reason why they do that is they do that so we recognize them. They pick up their personalities. Their personality is very, very predominant and strong in coming through, sometimes more so than actually describing how they passed, their name. Their personality is very, very prevalent. Why? Because we can identify with the person by who they are.
Do you think they come back?
If you ask me if I believe in reincarnation, I most definitely do. I most definitely believe in the process of reincarnation. I personally don't subscribe to them coming back that quickly. I think it might take us a long time before we choose to come back. I always think that there's free will. Where there's soul, there's choice and free will. I don't personally believe that we come back that quickly, or I don't want to believe that we come back that quickly. That might just be me. Thank you. Number two.
Who actually decides or determines whether or not they incarnate?
I believe it's our soul. I think that our soul makes that choice as a degree. If this is the classroom of life, and our soul is in need of learning, our soul is in need of evolution and evolving, because that's what I really feel like what we're here to do. We're here to evolve through the physical world so that we can evolve on the other side. It's like going to a university. This is the university of life. So we have to go for whatever that degree is. So to go for that degree, you know what classes you have to take, and you know what credits that you need. So you select and you chart out your university course of study.
So is that like karma? Like you have to fulfill your...
Karma is like, you know, kind of like what you kind of create. Like what you project is going to have, you know, every action has a reaction. And well, karma is the penny in the pond. It's the rippling out of what you do with your life. And what you project out there is what kind of comes back. So, you know...
So it's up to the soul. It's not the universe, or it's something else that determines whether or not
I think it's both. You know, it's like the universe would be the university, so to speak, but the class itself is within that university. So, any other questions? Her telling you she had to go was her way of saying that, you know, letting you know she's at peace and that it was her time to go, that she consciously knows she was ready to leave. I think dreams are the #1 way that they come through to us. But not every dream that we have is a dream of, not every dream we have is what I call a visit. Sometimes a dream is just a dream. But when it's really profound and vivid, when it's really like, just, you don't forget it and you had it 10 years ago and you had it like 2 minutes ago, it's very profound. That's usually their way of coming through, and it's usually very positive, and it's usually their way of helping you through something.
I believe that our soul is placed on a continuing journey the moment we are born. But that journey does not end when we cross over. I've also learned that the astrological sign under which our loved ones cross over can give us a glimpse into the soul's continuing evolution. My teacher and friend, astrologer and author Sandy Anastasi, explained it to me like this.
We know that at that moment of death, an enormous amount of energy is released. So what happens with that energy is very important. That energy can be used to lift the soul to the other side, but if the people who are grieving kind of come together in a sense of bonding and joy and wishing that soul well on its way instead of trying to hold it back, all of a sudden that energy that's released can lift everyone in the family to a higher level so that they can move forward with their lives enriched by having known that person, instead of bereaved and looking back and saying, oh my God, now I have a hole in my life.
Sandy Anastasi compiled astrological birth charts for parents Robert and Alicia, as well as an afterlife chart for their son Austin, to help them understand how everything relates to each other both here in the physical world and when we cross over as well. Might that help somebody understand why that soul left?
Even more than that, it can give us a glimpse into the soul's birth into the other side and what that journey in the afterlife is going to be all about.
Are there things in there that you were surprised by? Are there things in there that...
Yeah, they were. The interaction between the parents and this child, this young man, was so clear, both in life and through his death and afterlife. I think that's really amazing.
And for the people that are watching at home, why is it going to be important for them at home?
You, I, every one of your viewers, sometime in our lives, are going to have to go through the same thing, make the same choices that this family made.
We asked Robert and Alicia, who flew in that day to meet us, to join in our conversation about astrology and life after life. I want you to know that there's nothing else that they could have done. And I want you to know that whatever happened, happened in the way that it needed to happen. I feel like my role as a medium is not just to read people and connect. And in my 21st year, I feel like I've embarked on a new plateau. That's to help people evolve. And that's why I wanted you to be here today and meet Sandy. And I wanted to look at Austin's passing in a different way. And again, he becomes a teaching soul for all of us, explaining his transition to the other side. So I'm going to turn this over to her so she can maybe kind of explain what you've seen in his chart, maybe introduce the concept of the death chart a little bit.
Mm-hmm. What John means when he says death chart, what I did is I charted a special chart for the exact time and place that Austin died. And that chart in your charts, in your lives, is what we call a transit. And it tells what each one of you is going through, is feeling, is learning, is growing, what you were going through at that moment that you had to deal with at the time that he died. But the chart itself is a separate chart. It is Austin's birth chart into the other side. So we can also look at that chart and see what he's doing, what his focus is going to be. We can actually see that his life continues into another plane of existence. You see, based on what I see here, I believe that your son will always be a part of your lives. Now, I don't believe that's the case for everyone who passes. I believe that sometimes someone passes to the other side and they have things to do. And so they get on with whatever their life on the other side is going to be. I believe that your son is going to stay close to you. And I believe he's going to act as a guide.
I think it's really important, and this is professionally speaking, for you guys to find someone to talk to. You've heard me say it so many times before. There is no cure for grief, and seeing a medium is never the answer, nor is an astrologer. But by gaining a better understanding of a soul's progression from birth through life and on to the afterlife, we may be better able to move on. You never get over it, but I know that we can get on with it. I hope that Robert and Alicia were able to come away from our meeting with that understanding. And if you would like to have a better understanding of how astrology can shape your journey,